What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of In the Trenches with Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew. I am your host, Noah Hiles, here on the Post-Gazette Sports Now YouTube channel and podcast network, I should say. And we've got some very interesting content that we're going to be bringing to you every Thursday now that the season is underway, all the way through the end of the season, talking Pitt football and getting an exclusive inside look at the Pitt football locker room with two key members for your 2023 Panther team, Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew. Fellas, we promoted this. I promoted it on the ACC network. Jake promoted it during a press conference. I feel like we've all kind of been talking about it. It's great to finally be able to get to do this. I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are as well.
100%. I'm super stoked for this. I mean, it's been the works for about 2 months now. So to finally be able to get on here, get together, talk some football, some Pitt football, and, just talk about our team and give the Panther fans, a little inside look at who we are and what we're all about. So I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, like Kradel said, we've been talking about it for a while, and it's good to finally get it going.
Yeah, so before we get into this, I just want to ask both of you guys, why'd you say yes to this? Obviously, I have my answer. I get exclusive access with two starters on a team that I cover, but what do you guys gain from doing this? What drew you to this opportunity as, two student athletes who have a lot going on?
I think for us, I think it just kind of to show like Pitt fans our personality, show them who we are, like at the end of the day, we're more than just a football player. We're a student athlete, we're a brother, a friend to many people. So it's just kind of nice to give an inside look of like who we really are and kind of like who our team is and what we stand for and, what kind of people we have in the locker room here at Pitt.
Gavin,
yeah, absolutely. It shows.
Yeah.
He covered it all basically, but it shows our personality that, we're not just football players. We have another life, like a social life. So it'll be good for people to see that. And it'll be fun.
And I think this will be fun. Full disclosure, we've had more than a few practice runs at this. We thought we were going to launch the show last week, but due to some logistical purposes, we couldn't do it. So we have recorded numerous times, both intentionally and unintentionally, not airing the show. But every time we've done it, I will say like these guys have got better and better. I think that there's going to be a lot of stories, a lot of cool information that comes out of this. And I guess that starts right now. So the way this show is going to work, it's going to be 3 segments. The first segment is just going to kind of be a recap of the past week, or in this case, weeks. We're going to talk about training camp. The second segment's typically going to be an interview segment where I take a step back and Jake and Gavin interview one of their teammates. Now, in this case, where for episode 1, we're just keeping it with them, I'm going to be interviewing them, but as we move forward, there will be a different Pitt Panther in this third chair, and I'll take a step back and let them kind of take control of the show for that segment. And then the third and final segment is called 4 Down Territory, where we quickly cover 4 different topics, kind of previewing the week ahead for Pitt football and discussing all national and local college football subjects going on week by week. So with that all being said, let's get right into it with our first segment, which is going to really start off. We call it Watching the Tape because of a good old Pat Narduzzi line. He loves to watch the tape and review everything. And I think when it comes to reviewing recent history, I think there's no better place to start than reviewing training camp, guys. Gavin, you just completed your third. Jake, you're number 6 for you. Just give me the Spark Notes version about all the good things and the bad things, everything that you liked, you disliked about this training camp.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a great camp all around. We got so much better. I'd say in my 6 years, this one was probably the best camp, from both sides of the ball, just going back and forth, like defense winning a practice, us winning a practice. And then same with the scrimmage, the first scrimmage, offense had a great scrimmage. Gavin was catching the ball, we were throwing the ball, we were, completing passes, we won big. But in the second scrimmage, we tried to, establish a run, and we really weren't successful. It was kind of tough to go, and we just, I think we rushed like 70% of the time. We really couldn't establish a run game. So, that kind of hurt us. We lost that scrimmage. But, overall, as a team, we just got closer. Building bonds on and off the field is huge to a team's success. And I think that was it was just great to be around the guys all camp and really, just get, as we always say, 3% better each day.
Yeah, I mean, it was my third camp. I've been around now for a little bit, but I feel like one thing I've seen this camp is like all the young guys are stepping up. It seems like they've been here for like 2-3 years. Kenny Johnson, Zion. Who else am I missing? I think that Lamar Seymour. He's a dog.
Yep.
They're all stepping up. Izzy. They're all stepping up, making big plays, and same on the defensive side. And we're just competing every day, and we're just excited to get out there this weekend and finally hit someone else.
I want to ask a couple things, just camp notes that I had, and we're going to hit on other things in more detail later in the next segment. But with camp, two things that I think stood out to me were, one, like Jake pointed out, in the second scrimmage, where you guys went into it knowing, look, it's going to be a very run-heavy play call sheet. Gavin, for you and Jake, I mean, it's frustrating, I think, for both of you in different ways. Where Jake, I can't imagine it's ever fun to block against Pitt's defensive line, but it's got to suck even more knowing that they pretty much have a great idea what the play call is going to be, and they're coming right after you. So that's my question for you on this. And Gavin, it's got to be frustrating for you because, like Jake pointed out, you and all the other pass catchers had a great showing in the first scrimmage. And as a competitor, how do you keep that from not driving you insane when you're like, you know what, if we were playing to really score here, it could be different. So I'll let you both answer those questions now.
Yeah, I just think, you just got to understand my bad, Gav. You just got to understand the
No, go ahead.
You got to understand, like, hey, like, this scrimmage, like, hey, we're trying to establish something. We're trying to build off, our past success and you see if we can run it, be run heavy and stuff. But I mean, so for me, it doesn't drive me crazy because I understand, scrimmages are scrimmages. There's a reason they don't count against us in the win or loss column. So, I mean, it's just all preparation for the 23 season, and it's great. It's great to see what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are. It's great to see it on film. And that's a big thing, we talk about is like, hey, sometimes, we don't really call practice like a game. We call it to put on film, correct our mistakes, see what we're good at, see what we need to get better at. And I think that's huge. And that's huge in, camp when it really doesn't matter, like against anyone. But come week one, this Saturday, we're going to have a game plan and we're going to execute it and, hopefully put up lots of points.
Yeah, and I feel like the second scrimmage really just showed me at least, like how mature we are. We talked like the perimeter, like the receivers and tight ends. We talked and we were like, we're not going to have a big day today. It's a lot of fundamentals and runs. So, that's just like our team motto, we, not me. You got to put the team first and not really care about like your individual goals or anything like that. And, I think we're starting to realize that and we're going to be very successful because of that.
So a big news story that came out when you guys were in camp was a team-wide NIL deal with Alliance 412. And I mean, I see you guys holding back your smiles now. And I mean, I don't blame you. That's how you're able to have that nice little necklace around your neck, right, Gavin? So, but in all seriousness, I mean, can you just give us a perspective for, Jake, you were around before NIL even existed. And now you're a part of something that's kind of revolutionary in this space. And Gavin, you've been around to see it kind of develop in your 3 years. Can you just give us a perspective for people who don't benefit from NIL in college athletics, what this means to a locker room and specifically what it means to your locker room to see what Alliance 412 has been doing in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, definitely. It's great. It's a great opportunity for guys to get rewarded for their play. I mean, every Saturday we're going out there making plays and, seeing guys score touchdowns and stuff. And it's like, you see other guys getting rewarded a lot. But now finally we as, a team here at Pitt, the whole football team, all the scholarship guys are getting those rewards. And it's, it's great to see guys that, really deserve it over the past, I've been here 6 years now and just seeing guys that could have, really executed on that in the past. Now it's happening. So it's good to see the future really coming forward. And, truly it's only going to get better. The more people that, help support it, the 412 Alliance, help donate and stuff. It's going to get greater. We're going to bring better players in here. We have a good team, but, they're going to keep getting, 4 or 5 stars, guys that can come in and contribute right away. So, to all you Pitt fans watching, I hope you really take advantage of the 412 Alliance and, really, it helps us out. It really makes our life a lot easier outside of football. We can focus more on the game and really don't have to worry about money. So I truly, I know as I appreciate it, and I know, the future kids will appreciate it as well.
Yeah, I think it's big for everyone. Everyone wants money. But I guess for like a team standpoint, yeah, as a team standpoint, I guess it shows us that like we're not like we are getting noticed. Before you see all these teams get big deals, and we think we're top dogs, so we're like, why aren't we getting these deals? And it just goes a long way to when you see like donors donating and like alumni helping out, and it goes a long way, and we're very grateful.
My final question here before we wrap up this first segment. On Monday, the Too Deep, first ever depth chart released to the public, at least, came out. I had my own observations, but I'm just kind of curious. I mean, what were your takeaways on this? I'm sure you guys see this, or at least you take note at who's running with the starters, who's running, in a position where they have that "or" next to their name, where they might be they're a committee starter or something like that, or even a name who's number 2 on the depth chart that may be heading out of spring ball. You didn't assume they'd be that high. What was a big surprise for you? And I'm not asking you to air out like, oh, I thought this guy sucked. Like, I'm not, that's what I'm asking here, but more just kind of like a guy that's like, wow, he really made some progress in the last couple of months. Who were some names that stuck out to you on that Too Deep?
Yeah, I would say, for the offensive line, like just, being in that room and, seeing everyone work and, see how everyone's developed in the past, 9 months since we got back in January. I'd say the 3 guys that really stick out to me is, Branson Taylor, he's playing right tackle. BJ Williams, a true freshman that came in early. I mean, that dude, he's just been unbelievable. You talk about a kid that just wants to learn, and truly, I think he's going to be a great player for us. I think, if he doesn't get a lot of playing time this year, he'll definitely be a 4-year starter, I'm sure, here. That dude he wants to learn, loves the game. He's super strong, super athletic. So it's going to be fun to see him. And then Jason Collier, he's getting our start at left guard. So it's going to be fun to see him and all of his work, come to the forefront. I mean, he really hasn't played. I mean, he's played, snaps here and there the past 2 years, but finally being a starter in his 5th year, super excited to see what he has and what he can do for us, come Saturday.
Yeah, another guy offensively, true freshman as well, Kenny Johnson. He's had a great camp. He came in, he got straight to work. He got in the playbook, met with all the player, like quarterbacks and everyone for like techniques and stuff like that, and all the coaches. He's on time. He stays off lists. He's had a great camp. And the first scrimmage, he broke a play out, hit like 23 miles an hour on his catapult. I mean, the kid's insane. So he's having a great camp, and he's going to do well.
I mean, that's a name we've heard as people around the camp, for practice, have heard ad nauseum, both from the coaching staff, from players, and just anyone else is Kenny Johnson. And Jake, I like those observations you made as well there on the offensive line. I mean, a guy like BJ Williams, that wasn't a name I expected to see at number 2 on the depth chart when I was interviewing him when he enrolled early in the spring. So I think that is another something to make a note of. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I will be talking with Jake and Gavin about an interesting subject. We're about to start the 2023 season. I want to reflect on the 2022 season, and we're going to break down how this year's group might be a little different when we come back on In the Trenches with Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew. Here in the trenches with Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew, I will be asking that we're going to talk about the 2022 season and now the upcoming 2023 season and how these teams are a little different. But before we do, Jake, tell us who this segment is brought to us by.
Yep. This segment is brought to you by the one place in Pittsburgh where you can caffeinate and create, Brushes and Beans Cafe in Murraysville. At Brushes and Beans Cafe, you can enjoy a delicious latte, cappuccino, cold brew, and much more while relaxing, creating your very own masterpiece. For more info, visit their website at www.brushesandbeanscafe.com or give them a call at 724-610-3782.
Gavin, I'll tell you what, this guy, I think he was second team all ACC last year. That was a first team all ACC ad read right there. That's well done. That is well done,
Yep.
Jake Kradel. All right,
Those
boys.
are my people over there, brushes and beans.
Yeah, I was going to say. So, guys, I wanted to ask, and we talked about this in one of our practice episodes, and I think it's a conversation that the listeners and viewers would really enjoy. So, I've been covering this team. I'm going into season 2. And last year, being my first year on the beat, it felt like things were really tense in training camp. Players seemed a little on edge. Coaches were definitely on edge. Where this year, things just seem a lot more relaxed. And I thought there was a lot of factors that probably played into it. Not that you guys are overlooking any opponent, but when you're opening the season against West Virginia on college game day, that's a bit more pressure to open your season compared to Wofford on a Saturday afternoon in week 1. I thought that might have played a factor in it, but you guys kind of gave me some insight as to why that might be the case. So I'll let you guys both talk about it. Why has it been kind of a more laid back training camp and vibe in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the biggest thing for me, I think, is I think this year we're like a lot more player led. You know, we have a lot more leaders, whereas I feel like last year going into the training camp, we didn't really know who our leader was, and we were trying to figure that out. And we just weren't really there as like a team, I guess you could say. I mean, we were, but not as much as this year. And I just think, you know, you got guys holding players accountable, which is why the coaches are more relaxed because they have trust in us. And I just think that was part of the process. And yeah, I think that's like the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, you know, I agree with what Gavin said. I mean, that's so true. Like, coming into 22, we had no idea who our leaders were going to be, who was going to step up and fill the role of, you know, Kenny Pickett. I mean, you had a guy that was a 5-year starter here that really was a leader there for, you know, I'd say his last 4 years, you know, a guy that everyone looked up to. And, you know, when you lose that guy, you know, first round talent, a guy that really led the locker room, kept the locker room together, you know, during great times, tough times. I mean, you just don't know who that next guy is going to be to step up. And, you know, when we had a transfer quarterback come in, we just didn't know, you know, truly who he was and what he was about. But, you know, I feel like, you know, the way we battled last year, won 9 games, you know, had a lot of people opt out, I guess, the last game in the bowl game. You know, I mean, I think we had 8 guys that went to the NFL, or, you know, you're drafted or undrafted, and we, you know, came and beat UCLA, number 17 team in the country. And then coming back this year, it was like that was the same team we're going to have, you know, this year. So I feel like that was more of a more confidence it gave the coaches, and just like a fresher breath air, you know, knowing, hey, like we got some dudes, you know, we don't really have to, you know, stress about it. You know, we have a great team. We have a bunch of young freshmen coming in, a bunch of, you know, older guys stepping up too, older guys that really haven't played that are finally stepping up. So I think that was kind of like the big thing that we were, you know, kind of all stressed about last year.
So, and I'm not asking you to talk ill of any former teammates here, but you mentioned that last season, Pitt entered with a transfer portal quarterback. You guys have another starting quarterback from the transfer portal. What's the difference there? How is this quarterback kind of creating a different vibe in the huddle, in the locker room, and just throughout the program?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Phil's a guy he's from Western PA. So, you know, I played him all throughout high school. So I know who Phil is. I've talked to him, you know, back in high school and throughout the, you know, his 3 recruiting processes, you know, trying to get him back here at Pitt. But, you know, he's just he represents Pittsburgh. You know, he's gritty. He brings that, you know, that toughness that, you know, all Pittsburgh quarterbacks embody. So, you know, you really kind of look up to him, and really, you know, he demands respect of all his teammates, and, you know, the way he commands a huddle. I mean, he's just he's a winner, and truly it's, you know, it's great to have him here, and just to see the way he's been leading us, you know, he's gonna be awesome. You know, that's why up front we stress all the time. If we protect him, I mean, he's gonna have a great year, just like Kenny did in 21. So, you know, I'm super excited to see what he does, and, you know, see what he can do for us on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, like Jake said, he's a Pitt man. He's gritty. He's a quarterback that wants to run the ball. So I mean, you guys are going to see that this year. It's exciting. He's a big dude. He can get loose, but no, I mean, he's just compared to our last quarterback, I guess you could say. I mean, he just hangs out with the guys. He's one of the guys. You know, he goes to like gatherings we have outside of football. he'll watch tape and stuff like that. And he's just great on the field. He's leading the offense, leading all the guys in the huddle, like, hey, we got to get this first down. We got to drive on the defense here. And he's just a great leader, and it'll be fun to play with him this year.
Branson Taylor mentioned to us today during his media availability that there was a little team get-together over the weekend, and Phil made an appearance. I mean, what does that mean for you guys? I mean, this is a sixth-year guy. He's here for 1 year, and he's gone. He doesn't have to show up to this kind of stuff, but what does it mean that he does?
No, it's huge. I mean, it's like, you can build, a great team, on the field in the locker room, but truly, it's nice to get all the guys together outside and really, find out what people like to do, find out, who people are. I mean, sometimes you really don't know who someone is until you get them, outside of the locker room. And it was great to see, we actually had the little get together at our house. We had a little, cookout for the whole team, kind of got a bunch of burgers, hot dogs, and just grilled out. And, it was just great to see him there and really interact with all the guys. And, everyone got to know him, he got to know all of us. So it's just building that, that chemistry on and off the field that's really going to take us to the next level. And that's one thing I said it in my senior speech is like back in 21, we were the closest team. That team was super close. You talk about just hanging out all times. I mean, during the week, on the weekends, in the summer, like we were always having cookouts, just get-togethers with all the guys that I kind of. So it's nice to really take those old ways and bring them to 23. Get all the guys together and truly just build this team. And, see where we can go.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to see Phil come out, as it was for everyone else. I feel like, I mean, me personally, that's what like we live for. Just hang out with all the guys. Those are like everyone talks about it in their senior speeches, how like those are the best memories they've had. Just hanging out with the guys, and that's where like the real memories are made.
So I want to ask one more question about the 2022 season. Then we don't ever have to talk about it again unless you guys want to. You guys alluded to it. There was a lot of talent on that team. And granted, you didn't have number 8 at quarterback. And I'm sure you both would have loved to have him for another year. Unfortunately, he can't stay for 7 years. Sorry, Jake. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, a couple of things go different. That team could have gone 11-1, maybe even 12-0. Do you look back at the talent that you guys had, and while it was a solid season, is there part of you that thinks what could have been, wonders what could have been, had some decisions gone differently, had a couple bounces gone your way? Do you feel like that team could have probably achieved more than a Sun Bowl win and a top 25 ranking?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we definitely could have, but at the same time, like now, I don't really look back at it. I mean, at the time, yeah, I'm definitely always like, what if, back, last year. But now that we have 23 right in front of us, I kind of put that in the back and move on. But I mean, yeah, like you said, we had a talented team, and I think we have a super talented team this year. I mean, we even talked about earlier this week, like back in 20, we went 6-5 and it was COVID year. I mean, that team was unbelievably talented. We had 6 draft picks from that class, and we underachieved. But that's why this year it's like, hey, like everyone has to control what they can control, and if we do that with the talent we have, I think all the Pitt fans will be happy, and we'll be happy, and we'll get what we all want.
I mean, yeah, I feel like, everyone's pissed off about the losses last year. I mean, they're not just going to go away, but I mean, that just fuels us for this year. That was last year's problem. We're on to this year. And I think that just shows, like, also, again, like the maturity we have is that, we're focused on this year. We're focused on this week right now. And then after this week, it's next week. We're just taking it day by day, week by week. And that's key to moving forward and going far.
Final question for this segment. With those frustrating losses from last year, what did you learn from those to not only fuel a 5-game winning streak to wrap up that season, but more importantly, I mean, what did you learn from last year that will, for your sake, hopefully not allow similar things to occur in 2023? How is this group going to be different?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing we learned was just having confidence in everyone, from the coaches to us players to the leaders. Like, I mean, I think last year we were sitting at 4-4 going into November. And, we did a team meeting or an offense meeting, and we said, hey, like our goal is to go 4-0 November. They only remember what we do in November. So, I mean, each week, 1-0. next week, come in, said, hey, we gotta be 1-0 this week, and we just kept that mentality. And I think it was kind of how we practiced. We practiced like one practice at a time, like take care of every play, every little detail, and the rest will happen. I mean, and as an offense, I think the last 4-5 games, I mean, we balled out. Like I think we only had like 4 negative plays in 5 games, and it was unbelievable. And that kind of really taught me, like, hey, just look at it one play at a time, one drive at a time, one game at a time and one practice at a time, and the rest will take care of itself. So that's kind of one thing that stuck with me from last year's, squad, and just kind of like the lessons it taught me. So I'm super excited just to take this, this week, just be 1-0 and see what we can do throughout the year.
Yeah, like you said, definitely play by play. I mean, no one's going to have a perfect game. Coaches talk about that. We know we're not going to be perfect, but we're striving for excellence. Coach Sig talks about that all the time. And I just feel like if we have that mentality, things will go smooth and hopefully go our way. And then also I feel like, everyone's got to be bought in. If everyone's not bought in, like, what are we doing? Like, you're not going to have a winning team. You need everyone bought in, whether it's the guys on the field, on the sidelines. And I feel like that's also major, is the guys on the sidelines. Like, when they're not amped up or anything like that, I mean, there's, like, no juice. Like, when they are, I mean, Craig knows, when they're going crazy, like, it fuels us. Like, we're sitting there, we're like, oh, man, come on, let's go. So I feel like that.
So you need more guys hitting their faces with helmets? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I don't know about that.
If that's what it takes.
I knew both of you were going to answer exactly how you did. Where, the one goes, I don't know about all that, and Jake goes, whatever it takes. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show with 4 Down Territory. We're going to cover some news topics and get a look at Wofford, Week 1 opponent for the 2023 Pitt Panthers, when we return on In the Trenches with Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew. Here on In the Trenches with Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew, third and final segment of the show. 4 Down Territory is its name, and Gavin, who brings us this final segment?
This segment is sponsored by Rendine Consulting, helping companies, staff, integrate and optimize their technology systems. Call 412-965-5933 for your technology needs.
Well done, Gavin. Well done.
Thank
indeed.
you.
So,
Thank you.
All right. So the way 4 Down Territory is going to work, we're going to have 4 recurring topics kind of that we go through with different names. The first one is going to be a headline reaction. The second is going to be Say Something Nice. The third is called the JAGPPOTW, which is the Jake and Gavin Podcast Player of the Week. And the final segment is Keys to Victory. So we're going to start off now with headline reactions. And I feel like this has been a headline for about 4 weeks now. I actually legitimately think we have used this headline for our practice shows back-to-back weeks and our show that we recorded but didn't get to publish last week. And it reads, continued momentum for ACC to add schools. So realignment continues to be a theme in college football. Gavin, I might be covering you catching touchdowns next year in the West Coast, it looks like. Just want to get your thoughts on expansion here for the ACC, looking like SMU, Cal, and Stanford are being added to the conference here soon.
Yes, I mean, I would say I think there's a good and bad to it. The good is, we can bring in more revenue, bring in more money for the ACC schools, which I think ultimately is what they want to do, which I think is in the best interest of each school. But I mean, for the student athlete, for us, as student athletes, players, I mean, it's definitely hard. I mean, you think about going out to Stanford, right? You got to leave on probably, I would say Thursday, maybe Wednesday, just get, used to the 3-hour difference and really get ready. And then, coming back, like, we have classes Monday through, Friday, so it's like, we're going to miss what, Thursday, Friday, and then maybe we get back on Monday and miss Monday classes too. So like, you talk about really being a student athlete and catering to us. I mean, it's not ideal for that, because, they love for us to, focus on, academics and really, get that 3.0. But I mean, for the money, it works. But for us as student athletes, I don't think it's the ideal situation.
Yeah. Like Jake said, I don't think it's very ideal for us. just for like the games, I feel like it'd be tough going from week to week. Like if we got to go out there and then come back and maybe have like a short turnaround on like a Thursday game, that affects like our practices and like our preparation and how we normally get ready for games. And I feel like that could be a struggle. But then on the other side, the money, obviously it's good for the schools. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I will say, from my perspective, those are all great road trips, but you love to go on the road games and enjoy the sights around the campuses or whatever. But I do see exactly what you guys are talking about. I mean, just looking at it and thinking about it, you almost would assume that you guys would go out to play Cal or Stanford and get a bye week the next week. That would be kind of like the best way, I think, to handle this. But not everyone can get a bye week, or like every single week. Like someone's going to get screwed over by this, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds. But we'll move on now to Say Something Nice. So this is where we preview the upcoming matchup. You guys have the daunting Wofford Terriers coming into town of the FCS. Guys, say something nice about Wofford. You've broken down your film. You have a game plan. I'm not going to ask you to talk about that game plan because I feel like Narduzzi would jump right through this window to my left and tackle me before I could finish the question. But just say something nice. What stands out on film when you're preparing for this opponent?
Yeah, no, on defense, they're a really good defense. Their front seven. I mean, that's who I've been focused on a lot, and they're fast, they're quick, they're twitchy. They get off blocks well. They stop the run. They get after the passer. I mean, they're a really good defense, and they're someone we're not taking lightly at all. I mean, we've been grinding them on them for the past 2 weeks. We're really preparing and just trying to see what they do and just execute at a high level. And then also, I mean, their head coach is Sean Watson. So I mean, he helped recruit me here. He was my OC my true freshman year. So that's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. I mean, I remember he pulled me aside. I think it was in 18. It was when we were down in Charlotte, the championship game. Pulled me aside and said, "Hey," he said, "you're gonna be a great player here. Just keep working." And I really appreciate him believing in me and really my talents and stuff. I mean, even as a young guy, you truly have no idea what's going to happen. You think all right, like I'm pretty good at this, but I'm on scout team. It was like my third game traveling too, but I mean, pretty much the whole team traveled there. Besides a few guys, so. It was just great to, get that confidence boost going into 19. But, I truly appreciate that guy, and it's going to be fun, competing against his team on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're kind of like a vanilla team. They don't give up any big plays, really. They're good in the run game. They're good in the pass, like Jake said. They got some good players. They're good at getting off blocks. They read, run well, pass well. They fly around and make plays. And, we've been preparing for them for almost 2 weeks now. I think we started like the last week in camp. They were throwing periods in there at practice where we get some looks from our opponent. But, we're not taking them lightly, like Jake said. We're preparing like we would any other game if it was an FBS school. We're gonna bring it, and we know they're gonna bring it, and it's gonna be a dogfight.
All right, so part 3 of this segment is the Jake and Gavin podcast player of the week. Guys, who had the best week of practice? You both can give your MVP answer and tell us why.
Go ahead, Jake. I'm thinking.
All right, yeah. I mean, I would say my MVP this week was either it was one of the wide receivers, Bub or Tay. Those guys. I just watched them where doing some past periods and just seeing them really go deep and catch the ball and just beat all our defenders. Those guys are two explosive guys that I'm excited to see have a huge year. Like last year, I think they had a pretty good year, but just stat wise, I'm not sure if it was great. But I think this year they have a great chance to really break out and show the Pitt fans who they really are, and hopefully get some NFL interest and see where they go. But I mean, those two really been balling out. And then I'll say for camp, I want to throw this in is DeAndre Jules, a defensive tackle. He's been all over the place. I mean, I've been going against him every day in one-on-ones. All the team periods. He's a guy that all you Pitt fans should really watch out for. And I think he's going to have a big year this year, and I think he really do a lot of great things, maybe win a couple awards, So super excited to see what he can do, and hopefully he picks up some production that Kalijah had last year.
I'll give a defensive guy some love. Guy I had to block all defense or fall camp wasn't very fun. Dayon Hayes. I feel like he's had a good week of practice. We've had a couple periods against the defense this week. but not too many. But I mean, all camp, you know, he was grinding. You know, he was getting after it. We were bumping heads every day, all day, unfortunately. But no, he's he's gonna have a great year, and I'm excited to see him fly around and make plays Saturday.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap up the show with keys to victory in 5 words or less. Give me your keys to victory for your team against Wofford in week 1. We'll start with Jake.
I would say just execute. You know, we got to execute and really, if we execute and do our job, you know, we should really take care of business. You know, that's what we always preach. I mean, kind of like in the past couple of seasons, it's been like, hey, was it us or was it them? You know. And usually if we lost the game, it's because of us. You know, we're a super talented team. You know, we have a talent to win every game. It's just we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We got to, you know, just be penalty free, execute our blocks up front and let in the run game. And then the pass game, just catch the ball and, you know, make plays. So I'm excited to see what we can do on Saturday.
It was a long 5 words, but
yeah.
I was like, man, he's still talking.
No. Come on now, this is a podcast.
Yeah. I know. I'd say I'll go more than 5 too, but Doozy always talks about it. It's you got to win the turnover battle. I feel like that's
4. That's 4.
Yeah, yeah, no, but I feel like that's if we win the turnover battle and we come out positive in that, there should be no reason why we should stomp them.
Guys, we did it. We're through an official episode, and I think we're good this time. So thank you both for your patience and everything. I hope, and thank you to everyone who tuned in. You can find this at the Post-Gazette's YouTube channel and the podcast network every Thursday. There will be player guests. There will be firsthand analysis and inside information that you're not going to find anywhere else, including with, you know, our coverage. We're limited with the access that we get during the season, but this is something really special, and I'm really looking forward to it. Jake, Gavin, thank you guys so much. And,
yeah, thank you.
You know, it's going to be a fun Saturday for you two and for me. I love getting back in the mix just as much as you guys do. This is it's a fun time of the year. College football is back. So
absolutely.
For everyone watching or listening back at home, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Follow the Post-Gazette and these two fine gentlemen to my left and right on their individual social media platforms. And keep tuning in. We will have another episode of In the Trenches with Jake Kradel and Gavin Bartholomew next Thursday here on the Post-Gazette Sports Now YouTube channel and podcast network. Take care.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Apple Podcast channel for more podcast content. Click below for a special deal of 99 cents for a 3-month subscription to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.